All right, welcome back. Now be very, very quiet because we are hunting for a creature that is so shy. The people studying it have actually never seen it.
Timid, Andrew, it is, and we are going deep, deep undercover. This is the story of the long-footed poteroo of East Gippsland. To call the long-footed poteroo timid is something of an understatement. This enigmatic little animal is so shy it wasn't discovered until the late 60s and only formally identified as a species in 1980.
It's found in pockets of southeastern Australia. Victoria's East Gippsland is a stronghold, and over the past 18 months, Vic Forests has been running a covert surveillance operation to find out just who and what is out there in the forest after dark.
We found all sorts of things. The very common species like your wallabies, wombats, lots of lyrebirds, but then other rarer species like the long-footed poteroo, and that was very exciting in the first month of setting up these cameras to find the long-footed poteroo.
The survey is based on infrared motion detecting cameras. Tactical planning forester Abby Carmichael is putting the finishing touches to her Melbourne Uni Masters degree in forest eco-science, photographing and studying the forest floor dwellers.
So to catch the photo of our long-footed poteroo, Abby, we need to set up a bait, which is what you're doing now. What have you got in it?
We've got some rolled oats.
Rolled oats, yes.
Yep, some honey.
Honey.
And some pistachio essence.
And some peanut butter. This pistachio essence stinks. What's it smell of?
Well, for the poteroo, it resembles the sporocarps that they like to eat, which is a fungus.
A fungus. So these things are just running around the forest eating fungus?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So, and we set it up in these little things?
Yep. So just whack it in there. And then we fasten that to the ground with a tent peg. So when the poteroo comes in to smell it, we can capture it with the digital camera.
It smells delicious. Quite hungry.
With the experience gained, the Vic Forest team is getting pretty good at scouting out a typical poteroo haunt.
All right, I'll just clear the vegetation. Okay.
I'll get the readings.
You're happy with that position?
Yeah, that looks
Maybe
good.
do a test photo. And see.
Yep. So it's armed, and we'll just do a test photo.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
All right, so these cameras stay out in the bush for a month capturing everything that goes past. Now this is a mature forest type, and part of this project was determining whether it is only these mature forests that hold these little critters.
I guess one of the exciting things was, Mike, that during your survey you set up cameras in very, very young regenerated forests like this one, and what did you find?
We found long-footed poteroos, which is great because it means that they're in both mature forest and it can coexist with having timber harvesting and young regeneration as well.
So this little animal can live side by side with forestry?
It can indeed.
Not that it should have to. Under Vic Forest Threatened Species Protocol, if a poteroo is found, major steps are put in place to protect the animal and its habitat.
It's quite significant if we find a poteroo in an area that's scheduled for harvesting. So what we'll do once we find that and it's verified as a long-footed poteroo, we'll create a special management plan which will make sure that we protect the best habitat for that species across the coop, but also outside of the coop if it's within the area. So it's 150 hectares and 50 of that area, so 1/3 of that area will be specific for the species.
But it's the fact that the long-footed poteroo likes to forage in young regenerating forests that has caused the most excitement. Proof of the value of young growing forests in the biodiversity chain.
You won't find them in areas that are immediately after harvesting because there's no shelter for them. But once the regeneration gets up, and like for instance out here where you're starting to get good cover from predators, then they'll start foraging in amongst the regeneration.
So once a coop is harvested, there's quite a long process that goes through in regenerating that coop, and those areas that have been regenerated we've found have actually provided a fair bit of habitat for a range of different species. So that means throughout the landscape there's different age classes of forests that are providing different values for animals.
And as we learn more about the long-footed poteroo and discover how to guarantee its continuing secretive survival, there's a chance we might all be able to take something from the work being done out here in the forest.
I would really love to be able to create an education program that highlights the importance of having a reserve network within a landscape which caters for a certain suite of species, but also to inform the public that harvesting events and fire induces regeneration, which also caters for another suite of species. And so at a landscape level where, you know, there's all species are catered for.
In the past year and a half, Vic Forests have surveyed 54 of its forest coops, involving about 7,000 nights of camera surveillance. As a mandated planning protocol, if Vic Forest finds an LFP, then a 50-hectare area is immediately reserved. And one of the main points of interest from the survey work so far is confirmation that long-footed poteroos are found in young regrowth forests. After the break, the story of a group of fishermen and their co-op which they built from the bush.